Hello everyone, welcome back to the Clara CFO Group channel. Today I am addressing a question that I am getting over and over and over again, and it is about if you have received a PPP first draw and second draw within a tight timeline. So either this is at the same time if you've gotten a PPP, both draws at the same time, or if you've gotten them within days of each other. This is a big issue right now, and this is what we're addressing in the video. So stay tuned because there is a lot of misinformation about this. If you have been affected by this and you have gotten loans close together, you are going to want to watch this whole video because we are getting into the details and I've got some news to share. So first of all, I just want to say thanks for watching. A lot of you sole proprietors have been watching these videos pretty religiously because there's lots of confusion around how to treat your loans as a sole proprietor. And I am seeing that sole proprietors are the ones that are getting this, the two loans back to back, more than any other type of business. And I think part of that is because who was targeted and the lender that's been operating and doing this with a lot of the loans. So we are seeing there is one main lender that people are applying for, and that lender is ending up basically saying it's okay to distribute these loans at the same time. And we're also seeing other YouTubers even saying, yeah, it's okay to get your two loans back to back and do it quickly as long as you're eligible for both of them. So I want to dispel some myths in this video and kind of talk through some of the guidance. We're going to look at actual SBA guidance and hop into a screen share here in a little bit. But basically what I wanted to tell you guys is that we are seeing bad information coming out. So there has been a number of YouTubers who have been saying that it is okay for businesses to get both loans in a tight timeline, that you don't have to wait at least 8 weeks to be able to check the box and certify and say, yeah, go ahead, get a second loan. We're gonna check out the guidance here in just a second. That's basically saying, actually, that's not true. And then we are also seeing these lenders that I talked about. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it because actually another fellow YouTuber, Jamie Trull, has actually written a letter to Womply. This lender is actually doing this on the regular, basically telling people they can get the loans at the same time. Even looking at some of their blogs and things that they've posted are saying it's okay to go ahead and get this money at the same time. It's even very easy to do it and request it at the same time. And so a lot of you are getting these loans within tight timelines because, you know, as borrowers, we're kind of relying on these lenders to give us correct information. But something you need to know about the PPP program is that the onus of doing this correctly is solely on the borrower. Okay, there is lots of documentation and lots of guidance in the SBA, documentation that says it's not necessarily the bank's job to verify that everything's correct. It is on the borrower's side to make sure that they are doing things right. And also that means that the borrower is also taking responsibility when you sign your name to these forms and you're making these certifications, you are saying that you are doing things correctly from the borrower's perspective. And one thing that I'm hearing in some of the comments is that people are saying, well, the bank told me I could, so therefore I did. And that, I'm sorry to say, is not great logic because that's not how this program works. This program is ultimately about the borrower taking responsibility for how they spend the money and also how they are claiming it back to the SBA when they originally get the loan or when they're going to apply for forgiveness, okay? So one thing I wanna read to you guys, and I'm just gonna pop into a screen share and actually go through this right now because I want to show you the guidance that specifically says that we cannot get a PPP first draw and second draw within a tight timeline, all right? So we're gonna just pop into that right now. All right, so I am here in the interim final rule that was posted, and you find this on the Treasury's website. I will put a link to this rule in the description box of this video. This is the interim final rule posted on January 19th, 2021. So this is after the new rules that came out in December 27th of 2020, okay? So this is the guidance that is relevant and important for us to look at. So if you want to, just real quickly, you can just search overlap because this word is actually used in the guidance. And so I want to read this to you. Okay, so we talk about payroll costs that are eligible for loan forgiveness. When must the payroll costs be incurred in order to be eligible for forgiveness? So it talks through this, and it's talking about the payroll costs during the covered period. For the purposes of loan forgiveness, the covered period is the period beginning on the date that the lender disperses the PPP loan and ending on the date selected by the borrower, and occurs during the period beginning on the date that is 8 weeks after the date of disbursement and ending on the date that is 24 weeks after the date of disbursement. So the end of the cover period can land anywhere between 8 and 24 weeks. Now, the very, very important part is that the covered periods for the first draw PPP loan and a second PPP loan cannot overlap. It says it right here, you guys, cannot overlap. The covered periods cannot. And the borrower must use all the proceeds from the first draw PPP loan for eligible expenses before disbursement of the second draw PPP loan. All right, so you guys, there's really no mixing words here. I mean, there was an FAQ that a couple YouTubers were taking out of context and trying to say that this is not the case anymore. You don't have to wait 8 weeks. But they're basically saying you cannot technically say that you have incurred eligible payroll costs until you wait at least 8 weeks. But even if you wait only 8 weeks, you can only take 8 weeks worth of compensation. So we're recommending people, if they're going to take 100% of the PPP loan as owner's compensation, especially for your sole proprietors, you need to wait at least 11 weeks. And so what we don't want people to do is we don't want them to assume they can get the first draw loan and then just pay it all to themselves in one chunk, and then the next day get another PPP loan, pay it all to themselves, and think that they're going to get all this money forgiven. Not only will you not get it all forgiven based on the rules that we have right now, you could be potentially in a way of violating the covenants of the PPP loan because technically you did not incur the first draw for eligible purposes because you did not wait at least 8 weeks. Okay? So this is really the concern that we are seeing. And, as a CPA, I have a lot of concern of, the bad information that's out there, and I'm trying to get this out so that more people understand that they could have some consequences because of taking these two loans too quickly together. All right, well, I'm really not trying to scare anybody here because, the truth is that if you were taking this in good faith and you're trying to do the right thing, I think there's still recourse for you to figure out exactly what you want to do and what you can do with this money if you did receive two loans in a short period of time. So what I would recommend at this point is that if you are affected and you are in a situation where you got these loans close together, and when I mean close together, I really mean anywhere between simultaneously and 8 weeks. So that time period right there is the time that you might need to be concerned about this. If you got your loans within those short time frames, we would recommend that you do not spend your second draw loan and because you might need to pay it back. Okay. Now, what we don't know yet is we've been trying to figure out what the SBA is going to say about this. You might think, oh, well, it's not a big deal. What if I just, use my PPP one first and then I hold on to it because I have 24 weeks. I hold on to my second draw and then I, start my covered period after the first draw. But that's not how the covered periods work. We just read guidance that said that the covered period starts on the day the PPP loans are dispersed into your account. So if you get one on one day and then a week later you get another one, that is a covered period overlap. All right. You can't say, oh, but I want my covered period to start at a later date. You can't do that. They are not giving us any option or ability to do that at this point. So we don't believe that this is going to change. We don't believe that this is going to be any kind of guidance change coming down from the SBA. I would like to see a very clear answer in an FAQ to this point because there is so much confusion around it and because we have companies and lenders who are basically dare I say, misleading the public. and, you know, encouraging people to get 2 loans at the same time when technically they are not supposed to. So what I'm hoping here is that we're going to get additional clarity, but what I would highly recommend to you right now is if you are affected by this, do not spend your second loan amount. And ideally, I mean, if it were me, I would give it back right now. And then maybe wait my 8 weeks and reapply for the loan at that point in time. We don't know whether or not that money will be available if you do wait the 8 weeks. So, you know, this is a situation that we are in a high level of uncertainty, and ultimately we are just trying to do the best that we can with the information that we have. All right, so I can't really tell you exactly what the SBA is going to do. We don't know exactly what the penalties will be for this situation. But what we can say is if you got that second loan before the 8 weeks, technically you are fraudulently certifying to receiving that money and having spent it on eligible expenses, eligible payroll expenses, where we have to certify to say that we spent the full first draw on eligible expenses before you received your second, because technically that is not correct. So even if you've been misled, remember the onus of understanding this program is on you as the borrower, okay? So I'm not trying to freak anybody out, but I do want to say, like, just because the bank lets you do it or just because the lender let you do it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. And I know a lot of you are really concerned about this. I know a lot of you have lost a lot of sleep over it and you're worried and you don't know what to do. I would say go ahead and, you know, spend your first draw loan if you've received that, but hold on to the second draw or go ahead and pay it back depending on what you feel like is the right thing to do at this point in time with this information. I highly recommend you read this guidance yourself. Remember, you guys, YouTubers are not guidance, and you can't go to the SBA and point to somebody and say, well, so-and-so said that I could do it. You know, I mean, I do these videos to try to educate you guys as much as we can, but there are also people who are just out to make videos on this topic because it's a popular topic right now and because lots of videos are being made on it and they're just trying to ride the train. So some people are not necessarily reading the guidance, interpreting it, and giving you the right information. So you need to be careful where you're getting your information from. And also just remember that ultimately we are dealing with companies and lenders that are being paid to issue PPP loans. There is a whole function of this program where the banks who are issuing loans are getting fees. Okay, so there's money involved here. This is capitalism. Remember, we're still talking about a capitalistic society, but we've got that going on. So it benefits the company to issue more loans. And then it also benefits YouTubers who are part of affiliate programs to send you to those lenders. Okay, there's a reason that I am not a part of this company's affiliate program, because I don't feel comfortable with how they are conducting their business, and I don't want to benefit by sending people over there if I don't feel comfortable that what they're doing is in best interest for the end user, okay? So please just keep your eyes open on this. Remember that it is kind of all coming down to, we need to remember that you are responsible for protecting yourself in this program. The companies aren't going to protect you, and ultimately YouTubers aren't either. As much as I want to say I love this community, I love other YouTubers, you know, you need to take everything with a grain of salt. You need to also go and look at the guidance yourself and read it and just say, you know, hey, yeah, I agree or I don't agree. All right. So the guidance that I'm linking below, you look specifically on page 6, and it's the third column over, and you will see what I'm talking about there. Well, guys, I wish that this was not what I was making videos on. I'm not gonna lie. I wish this was all just coming out perfectly and everybody was getting the loans in the exact timing that they needed. I wish that there were more controls over this process. I wish there was less fraud. I wish so many things. But, you know, I'm trying to hopefully answer the questions that you guys are putting in the comments below. So please put comments down there. I do read them. I will try to respond to as many as I can. What I've been saying is I try to respond to comments within the first 24 hours. We are starting to get larger volumes of comments, and so it's harder to keep up on trying to, get you guys all answers to your comments. And, I can't answer everything. Sometimes the questions are too specific and it starts to feel like advice. My role here is really to help educate you and then point you in the right direction of finding the resources that you need. Okay, stay strong. You guys have got this. Please read the guidance and make a determination for yourself what you believe to be best and what to do next. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. If you have gotten to the end here, could you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up? I would be super grateful. And if you are a small business owner, please subscribe to the channel because I'm going to have resources for you from here on out.